Stormfront. Does she have dirt on everyone?
Everyone. Hey everybody, welcome back to AsArt with Naked Giant. Post 3 videos a week, so click subscribe. Check out AsArt.space for the audio and video links. So Nick, so this episode is kind of back to boys style storytelling. The last episode, very story character development, very serious. Some comedy, but not a whole lot. This one just hits it, right from the get-go and doesn't let up at all.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that happened, right? Like there's the whole movie scene stuff, right? Where they're like almost telling the story of the seven throughout it. Like, a whole like Stormfront and the girl power, Maeve coming out in the movie. You even have A-Train leaving, and there's like a whole thing with changing the script, not changing the script. And then there's a lot going on like on the back end, right? Like we had the female and Frenchie. She's basically becoming a hitman, a real monster now, just like going berserk, killing people. And then we have Homelander, who's very insecure about himself and his public opinion.
There's so many times in the episode, just like, he's such a good actor. He's so good. I'm just laughing. So
he may be bulletproof, but he is terrible when it comes to mind games. That's like his weakness, is mind games. And then we had
like, please like me.
Yeah, please like. Then you had the fun stuff with the Deep going on. Like he's going.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And then we have Maeve, who's getting pissed off with Homelander, and it looks like she's kind of stirring the pot up on how to get rid of him, and she's gonna use the Deep. The Deep's like probably the weakest link in this whole chain of people.
Well, the Deep has been very so. Do you think? I was thinking about this. Do you think that he's gonna have some big payoff near the end of the season? Because he's been kind of isolated near the end of last season and at the beginning of this season. You know what I mean? It's like he's been. I feel like he's going to play a big part at some point. He has his own dedicated time, which is kind of interesting to his character. Yeah. But as far as the dynamic, he's not in much of each episode. But it's like they're building his arc to something, and I'm interested to see what it's going to be
with the religion. Something big's going to go down with the religion, and maybe they just need a figurehead like one of the members of the Seven to get more power or something like that. And then we have the Black Noir scene at Butcher's aunt's house and everything that goes down. And what's his dog's name? Terror or something like that? I think it's Terror.
But yeah. But it was, the dog is hilarious. Him talking with it, where's me boy? Where's me boy? And then he's like, yeah, my mom, she's a dealer. It's just so funny.
And then we find out like the whole like relationship and dynamic between Huey. Butcher has a brother named Lenny. Yeah. And it reminds him a lot. So we found out a lot about that. And let's jump into it, John. This was fantastic. By the way, we also have deepfakes of Homelander where we put Superman on his face. We did Aquaman where we put...
It's not Superman. It's Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill. Yes. And we did Momoa, the Deep Aquaman with Jason Momoa.
Momoa, yes.
Yes. All right, John. So let's get into this. Let's just go first with the movie stuff. I love the whole behind the scene movie things. Guys in green suits walking around. The cheesiest,
and here comes
cheesiest lines. Oh my god!
Honestly, that's exactly what stand-in prop visual effects look like. If you guys haven't, for some examples, look up Life of Pi, and this guy is supposed to have this tiger laying on his lap, and it's like this, not even face, just like this. The visual effects people do not get enough credit in the industry, but it's hilarious that they're actually depicting it how it actually is. So they're actually giving it due credit. And here come the insect CG visual effects. And
Oh, and by the way, we covered a great video about this Call of the Wild. They had a stand-in for the dog and everything. Check out that in our description. We broke down the visual effects of that. But John,
and it's just fun videos. And especially the trailer review, maybe.
Oh, yes, the trailer review. And then let's talk about how they hit jabs at the Justice. It's like Dawn of the Seven, Dawn of Justice League, Josh Whedon rewrite. Come on, dude. Like, this is like jab, right hook, punch, uppercut. Like
it's really, it's fun because, whoever's writing this is like, okay, this is how it is. We're going to depict it how it is. We're going to be making fun of it. That's one thing that I think is kind of fun when Hollywood makes fun of Hollywood, or, the industry makes fun of the industry, because they're not just making up stuff. They kind of know what it's like, and they'll bring a little bit of insight into it, even if it's done in a comedic way. It's just kind of fun.
And it was cool too, because in our earlier episodes, we saw the storyboards for this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's really cool to see like the whole process kind of
progression
going through.
Yeah.
And like, let's talk about for a second how A-Train, oh man, poor A-Train, man, he's getting the short end of the stick on this whole deal. Like, let's talk about him wanting to rewrite his own lines. And then it was to the point where they were basically like, okay, yeah, you cannot do the movie or whatever, because he's like, I'm not going to do this. I don't want to say the lines. He's like, yeah, you cannot do this, and we'll tell the whole world about your compound V or blah, blah. You know, they like
Drug
just
addiction,
had so much dirt. Man, the company VOT has so much dirt on everyone. It's insane.
Well, I mean, if you have powerful employees and they're basically superheroes, you have to keep them in check. I guess you have to do what you. That's their only leverage. Is okay.
True. Yeah, I think that's what they try to do with Homelander, with Stormfront. Like the only way you can control Homelander is like mentally and with mental.
So games. I was going to ask, do you think so with the whole Homelander Stormfront dynamic? I mean, clearly, you know, she's been set up as being Liberty, and Liberty's been just out of the picture for years and years. You know, she was one of the first superheroes, and now you have her here, kind of manipulating everybody, but especially Homefront. Do you think the company knows that he killed Elizabeth Shue's character at the end of season 1, but they're trying to bring in someone who's like her that can manipulate him the same way, because she's doing it a different way, but she's still having that support role where he relies on her and she comforts him and something, you know, definitely different ways, but it's still, she's kind of stepping in and filling that role. And I'm curious if we're going to get another Elizabeth Shue throwbacks, like, you know, in his mind or something. You know, it won't be the doppelganger, but I'm curious if that's going to come up or something.
So talking about the things that go on in his mind. Well, you know what? First, let me answer your question. I'm starting to jump around over the place. You know, it's so interesting. I think they knew the whole truth, because I think they knew the truth. So that's why they pushed it on Butcher. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, they know the truth, but they know how to push it towards the media. So it's not Homelander's fault. Right. And that was the whole reason why they were like, don't do anything, Homelander. Wait. And then Homelander goes and lands, and you're just like waiting for something to happen. As soon as he landed on the platform, everyone's like freaked out, and they hand him the mic.
What a fun, hilarious scene, especially like you said, when you're in his mind. And how frustrated he is by everything.
I think this is where it's going to go. I think we're going to get to a point where he pops and he's just going to kill like mass amount of people. You know what I mean?
That's definitely where they're headed. I mean, the whole thing with Doppelganger, and he's coming unhinged. You know, Elizabeth Shue's image can't comfort him anymore, and you know, even himself. It's like they're definitely depicting him to where he's unraveling. Now, is Stormfront supposed to be the thing that kind of, you know, bends him? It's pretty hilarious. I mean, Nick, you kind of ruined it a little bit, because you're like, oh, I remember this one thing from the trailer where she's like, laser me, and you're like, I'm like, maybe he had it wrong, but no, you were right. Laser me. Still hilarious scenes. And we're jumping around a little bit, but so what do you think about Stormfront overall? Like, I kind of gave you my kind of theory on what she's doing or what she's doing for the company. Because we still have to remember, it was just briefly mentioned that Vought brought her in. So it's for a particular reason.
I don't know if she like maybe doesn't age. I don't know if she's like, she seems pretty strong. She can take a laser, so she's probably the second strongest hero we've actually. I'm saying Homelander's the strongest. I think Black Noir is really strong. We just haven't seen the full capabilities. Like I think there's a scene. Huey's like, how come we don't just drive away? He's like, dude, he's fast enough to catch us. So that means he has super speed. He can heal. We know he has super strength. So it's just like, wow, this guy's like the melting pot of powers. You know what I mean? Like
he's kind of my fun character that you don't know much about, but he's just, I don't know, even when he's playing a serious part, he's just still kind of entertaining when he's on the screen, not having any lines. Like the nonverbal acting, especially with the mask on, is actually pretty darn good. If you think about it, that's kind of a hard role to play if you're an actor, because you don't have any facial expressions. You don't have any lines. It's like, all right, you just got to dangle a puppet in front of a kid. Like, you know, it's like,
which makes him scary, right? Like that's why we were scared of Darth Vader, right? He only had a few lines, very intimidating. Every time you saw him, he was like choking someone or doing something where it's like, oh man, this guy's a bad dude. And that's kind of like Black Noir. But his dedication to the company is insane. Like talk about like he drank the Kool-Aid or whatever. He's fully committed, brainwashed or whatever we want to call it. But he's 100% in to whatever they got going, which is kind of scary, because if he is that strong, like Homelander, he's not 100% with the company. He's kind of doing his own thing, but Black Noir sounds like he's playing by the book.
He's really with them,
yeah. But we were going to talk about Stormfront. I'm sorry, I was going to ask you about Stormfront. I think she's played a big role in almost maybe even the creation of Homelander. Because think how old she is. Like what if like she was part of the process, or you know maybe what if like No, she can't be his mom, right? Oh no.
Don't do that. Don't go there. Oh man.
Oh
That's
no. But I'm saying this could be Game of Thrones. Like maybe they want to go that route. Oh man. Anyways, I'm just saying because she's like super strong. But
yeah.
I don't know. I know she's old enough.
Well,
Like I don't know.
what's interesting is so she has this melting pot of powers. Like you're saying, she has lightning, then she can fly. I almost feel like she's almost was it what's the X-Men that can absorb someone's power? Was that Gambit or who is that can who is it can absorb someone's powers?
Rogue.
I mean, at first I thought when he lasered her and nothing happened, I thought he was going to freak out and be mad, like, oh, this is someone that's as powerful as me. But then he obviously was not intimidated in that regard. You know, he liked it. But I thought, like, is she absorbing his power? Is she taking on his power? I mean, it's just, I don't know. They definitely depicted her in a way that, okay, she's every bit as powerful, or she's not vulnerable to him just trying to kill her if it came to that, you know. And she's, you know, I'm still curious if your whole thing about the comics to where she can read minds is going to come in, because she's definitely playing everybody.
I don't even know if that's 100% though. Now that I'm thinking about it, I could be really mixed up. That was a while since I've even done all that. And now I feel like they're going in a different direction with a lot of different things from what I remember from the comic books. Obviously, I haven't been saying too much here because John doesn't like spoilers, so I haven't been.
Well, someone in the comments on the channel said they go, yeah, they're definitely departing a lot from the comics, but I like it because it's keeping me entertained in a way that if you go exact, some people love a purist adaptation, but at the same time, it's kind of a bummer sometimes. You know exactly what's going to happen. And yeah, we know that Lord of the Rings, they're going to get the ring to Mordor, Gollum's going to fall in, but it's nice if it departs a little bit, or if it's a little bit different. Just give people, give fans something new too.
That was also like meant to be the book.
Yeah,
I feel like this show they're trying to do it where it's its own thing and modernize it a little bit with like I mean the memes. Like Homelander does not understand what memes are, and it's so funny how he's like, "Wow, like I don't understand it, but it's working. I'm up 5 points, so this is great."
How he comes in, she goes, "What's up?" He goes, "Me, 5.5 points."
That poor guy, dude. He is such insecurity.
So funny, yeah. Gosh. So if we're talking about the boys themselves, so what did you think about Butcher? I thought it was hilarious how when he was telling Mother's Milk, he's like, yeah, Butcher was really weird. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, he was nice. He's like, wait, tell me everything. It's like he was really weird. So what was Butcher going to do? Was he just going to go off somewhere? I mean, why were they so worried that they showed up at his house? I mean, what was he going to do?
I don't know. Maybe it's one of those. I don't know for sure if he like gave up hope, maybe for a little bit, and then maybe he found his calling again by seeing how they were able to lay down the line. And maybe he just saw like, oh, people do care about me. There are bigger issues here than what's it. And then it kind of maybe reawakened his passion. Kill Homelander.
Well, I mean, to an extent, he needed them to show up because Black Noir showed up, so he was going to be killed. But on the other flip side, he was actually going to see his aunt, or who I forgot, his aunt, and he was actually kind of revisiting his prior life and kind of seeing that, okay, this part of my life is over, moving on. Like, he might have been, if Black Noir wasn't, hovering in the background, he might have been actually moving on to a better thing, unless he was going to go off himself or something. I don't know. I mean, the way Mother's Milk reacted to what Huey said, it's like, all right, he's really in trouble, but I didn't quite get all that. So if you guys got something I didn't, leave it down in the comments, because I was a little bit curious about that.
Yeah, no, it was kind of very open-ended. I think maybe we'll see more in the next episode or something, because obviously he knows what's up, where he played his cards of, I have photo evidence or whatever, if I leak it, like, that's the weakness to the company, right? If the mass of people are against them, that's going to hurt them even more than Homelander killing a terrorist, which he created, and then killing an innocent person. Oh, it's just like, and it's so crazy, that whole sequence, because he like lands. It's like a total of 5 seconds. He lands. He's like, really? That's all you got? And he like flies off, and it's just like, wait, what? Like,
you almost feel for him a little bit. It's like, dude, all right, I saved a whole lot of lives. I didn't know he was there. Come on, you guys. I'm just being a...
Yeah, but you can just totally tell he just doesn't care. You know what I mean? He doesn't even care about the people he's saving and stuff. And he's a bad dude for sure. A lot of the Sevens are bad people for sure, except for like, okay, so that was interesting seeing the power play between Stormfront and Starlight.
Yes.
So like, first you think, Starlight thinks she has the upper hand on her because she knows she's Liberty and this whole thing like that. And then she like doesn't even care that she knows she's Liberty because she has dirt on her that she leaked everything. And it's just like, it's so interesting too that they're letting her stay on. I'm curious what the idea is for letting her stay on
with Starlight.
Yeah.
Especially if the company knows. I mean, she did hide the compound V that she was smuggling in Starlight's backpack, so it was never really mentioned if Starlight knew that that's what she was hiding. They kind of just jumped to her, taken out of her backpack, but clearly she knows. I'm curious if the company knows or Starlight's just kind of keeping it to herself. Really, the big mystery about Stormfront right now is we don't know if she's a company woman or not, or she really is just kind of on her own, doing her own thing.
Very interesting.
But that
oh my gosh,
kind of put her there.
She is so bad though. When she was talking to A-Train for the movie sequence, I'm like, oh my, it's just like making me like really hate her character. Like, but it shows that she's doing a good job as an actress. Like where you're just like, but it's just like, what? Oh, don't you like, come on, that's so wrong what you're doing. And it's just
so either they're setting her up to be a long-term villain or they're setting her up to be killed off by the end of the season. Because just from a movie like Amazon story making standpoint, you can't have a character who's racist become like powerful and stay there in shows and movies these days. Just it's
like,
too politically
even Homelander's racist to a certain point.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting because this is the 5th episode. There's only 8 episodes, so we only have 3 episodes left. So I'm curious what they're going to do.
Quick.
Like I'm curious if we're even going to see Black Noir under the mask by the end of this season. Or if that's going to be like a season 3 thing. Because like we still don't know who he is. It's probably going to be a big part to play with.
Or it might just be fun that we don't know ever. I mean, some of those things are fun
Come on. You know they have to reveal who he is. Kind of.
Did you need to know that Anakin Skywalker had a high midichlorian count? Did you need to know that? Did you need to know where the Force came from? Some things are better not knowing and you have the mystique about it. I'm not comparing Black Noir as a character to, Darth Vader or, the Force or anything. But, I mean, it's like some things are fun to not know about and you just get to debate and wonder about it, So that's something that they could do. But he is a fascinating character because you know so little. But if you knew more about him, would he still be as fascinating of a character?
Depends who he is.
That's true.
I mean, I don't want to go comic book territory because I know what happens with the comic book, but depends who he is. Comment down below if you know what I'm talking about, comic book people.
So what do you think? And Starlight didn't have a whole lot of screen time, if I'm remembering correctly. What do you think? What do you think the scene with the mom was big, but what do you think her whole dynamic and where do you think her story is going to go? This is just fun to think about.
I think by the end of the season, she's going to leave the 7 and she's going to join the boys. Is team boys? I guess was what we call it for now. I don't know what their name is. I mean,
we're not calling
team Mother's
boys.
Milk.
That sounds lame.
So, I think she's gonna join.
We'll call them the Mother's Milk Posse.
Yeah, I'm curious what's gonna happen. I wonder if A-Train's gonna talk to the Deep because they've both been kicked out of the 7, and I'm curious what's gonna happen because if Maeve set in motion some things going on, I wonder if that's gonna trickle down to the Deep and A-Train jumping on team boys. I don't know, but Stormfront calls Lamplighter in this episode. Remember when she calls like the guy in the jail cell and he has like a lighter? It's just like, it's a very short sequence. She's like on the phone with someone and he looks like he's like in a jail, but it's the actor from X-Men. He's Iceman from X-Men, from the X-Men movies, but he's playing
Iceman.
Iceman was the one who was dating Rogue in the original 3 X-Men movies.
Okay. I think I remember.
So he's playing Lamplighter. Lamplighter was a part of the 7 and left, and that's why they added Starlight.
Oh, okay. So he's the one who got kicked out, or
he's the one that like he went on. He got kicked out because he like went on a killing spree. I think he killed Butcher's mentor's family. I think he like torched them all, kind of thing. Like he's like a bad dude, kind of thing. But who knows? Maybe he's coming back because everyone's leaving. I mean, not everyone's leaving, but if Starlight leaves And if A Train leaves, that leaves 2 open spots.
And where they go, I mean, they've clearly spent time developing the Deep a lot, so we know something interesting is happening with this character. We know that they've developed A Train a lot too. Not as much in recent episodes, but he definitely has an arc. You know, he's probably going to go somewhere in the story important. And all along, you've kind of seen that, A Train had a drug addiction problem, and he wanted to stay popular because he needed the money. He didn't have a whole lot before, so he's not like just like an evil character like Homelander is, even though he has his reasons. So you could see them, both the Deep and A Train, they have redeemable quality, it seems like, where they could switch over if they decided to go that direction.
Yeah, so you know what's kind of, I thought by this time and around this part, you know, this far into the season, I thought they were going to have supers on, and it's nowhere close. It looks like the team's like totally disassembled.
Which I like. That's fun.
Yeah,
you know?
Which is, I know, but I thought like, oh, cool, they're going to get Starlight, you know, get her, you know, and then maybe have like a little Civil War movie action where they're like, you know, superheroes fighting each other. But you know, let's just jump to the ending really quickly. So Butcher tells his dog, he gives him a new toy, which is Homelander. He tells him to hump it, and he starts humping it. And then we cut to Homelander, superhero, doing it with Stormfront. You know, I mean, like full on, like intense, like full lasering of body parts, and just like, whoa, this is happening. They're floating in the air. Like this is happening. The boys. All right, let's do this.
It was funny. It was so comedic the way they depicted it. That was pretty funny. Yeah.
But I mean, think about it. She's totally has got Homelander under her grip. So like, if she, I wonder if she was pulling strings with Lamplighter. Maybe she like, because she called Lamplighter, had some kind of weird relationship with Lamplighter. So maybe she got like in his head, like the way she's getting in Homelander's head, where her true like superpowers maybe like getting into people's heads and controlling them.
Nick's just making up stuff as we go. He's not even sure if the stuff he made up earlier in previous episodes of this show even really happened. He's just convincing himself.
Yeah. I just keep talking to myself.
But you know what? The fun thing that I like about the show is like no one's necessarily just a straight up good guy. I mean, Huey's kind of like our good guy default character, but he's still killed people, and
it's true.
Butcher's not a good guy. Mother's Milk, we know he's done some bad stuff. Frenchie, they're kind of depicting him as a more innocent-ish type of person.
Yeah, but it sounds like he has a dark past.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
The cleanest person is like Huey and Starlight.
Yeah.
And then, but now that they're both getting so involved with everything, you can see them getting tainted, I guess. You can.
Yeah, it's interesting that how much Starlight's kind of not fallen off like screen time, but I mean, obviously you need to develop character arcs. You need to spend time. So honestly, I'm kind of curious what you think, and I'm curious what everybody else thinks. Like, I feel like I'm kind of bummed they released 3 episodes at once at the beginning of the season. Yeah. I would rather this stretch out a little bit longer. If we're only having 8 episodes, we're already, at a really advanced point. And I mean, Amazon, talk about the 7 doing whatever they want. Talk about Amazon doing whatever they want. They release it a day early or 2 days early or whatever, and they dropped 3 episodes, and everybody hated it. They downvoted the show. And then for this one, they released it a day early as well, or they released it before they usually release shows. So it's so funny that Amazon's just like, we'll put it out now. It's just like,
awesome.
Yeah,
awesome
I like it. I like that
but
they're just messing around. It maybe gets more traffic of people to Prime Video just to see, hey, is it out yet? Is it out yet?
I mean, if once people start hate raging text that they released it early, people are like, oh, cool, it's up there, 3 episodes. You know what I mean? It might even be a faster way of even notifying the public that there's this cool show out there. You know what I mean? Like,
that's true. Yeah,
it's so tough because like no one knows about Amazon Prime movies. Hardly anyone knows about it. Well, at least for my experience.
I didn't really know about it until you mentioned The Boys, because I find Amazon, not just Prime Video, but Amazon Video in general, a nice place to go if you can't find a movie. It's a nice place to rent because they have a really big catalog, But I never really gone there for original content, and yet here you have The Boys, and then you have obviously Middle Earth content coming up. But yeah, it's something that not a lot of people know about, like you said.
And then I think that's pretty much it for the episode. I love the Deep's cheesy commercial for the church. It's called the Church of the Collective, which is basically Scientology, I believe. Right? I don't know. I'm not a part of it, John.
I mean,
right to him. He has all the answers.
Not...
He knows why we're here. He knows when the aliens are coming back. Go talk to John. Full member. You're level pancake, and he's about to pour some syrup on him.
I'm about to go full waffle. Yeah, I'm about to go full waffle with syrup, maybe some little cinnamon drops. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's actually starting to build a church. No, I'm scared now.
So I'm curious. So last episode was such a different type of episode. Did you like that, or did you like being back to?
I like both episodes a lot because it was cool. I mean, I really enjoyed the mother milk parts and finding out more info about the whole road trip thing going on. Really starting to get to know characters and relate. It was more background building and character building where it made it for a stronger episode for this episode. Because think about it, we saw Huey figure out his second wind and why he's doing this whole thing, and now he was able to talk to Butcher about it, and you know what I mean. So it's this whole dynamic. And
it might have been needed in order for whatever the plans are for Amazon to have you emotionally invested enough in the characters. We need to dedicate this episode to just developing the characters. So moving forward, even if say we don't see much of Starlight for a couple episodes now, well, we had almost the whole episode where it was her, Huey, and Mother's Milk, all just developing their stories. So at this point, even if you don't see much of Starlight while they're developing other characters, it's
such a big cast at this point. It really is.
Yeah, the great thing is they're juggling it well enough that it doesn't feel like a lot of movies, especially now, like action movies, they introduce way too many characters and none of them get developed. You feel well enough. Obviously, having a streaming series like this, you have way more hours to work with.
Yeah.
But no one feels like they're being
only 8 episodes. This is crazy. You would think they at least do 10, right?
I would hope.
I mean,
I was hoping there would be.
There might be some crazy visual effects stuff in the last episode where that took up the whole budget.
That's just the story they wanted to tell. Now, I know this is a question for comic people. Nick, you kind of know the comics a little bit. So comics I have never been really a comic reader myself.
Shame.
But comics seem like they kind of just stretch on as long as people are interested in writing. They'll keep coming up with stories. But if you had to break down how long you think the comics last as far as seasons, would this be a never-ending show, or do you think 3 or 4 seasons would wrap up the main story? Or
they're still kind of at the beginning of the story.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot that if they even go the comic book route.
Yeah.
There's a lot that they need to catch up with for sure. Their
catalog of content is pretty broad.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Which I like that. I mean, this is a show. It's not as serious as say Avengers or even The Witcher, which is still kind of cheesy fun. But you know what I mean? Comedies, I feel maybe have a longer lifespan than pure action, and I think that's one of the reasons why Marvel movies in the last few iterations, ever since Thor Ragnarok, was much more comedic. It seems like all the Avengers movies and other movies kind of gone that direction as well, because if you just have too much seriousness, I mean, Justice League was a good example. People didn't like the DC movies; they were just too serious. There was no comedic relief. They weren't really fun. Whereas Marvel movies, you get a mix of things, and people are still burnt out of that. But this is a series that I could see going on a long time, and people just continuing to enjoy.
It's funny. This is more. I feel like this is even more real than Marvel movies. Dealing with if superheroes were real in this world, I feel this is more real. The way they cover social media, the way they do all that. I love it. I mean, I probably enjoy it more than I enjoyed the Marvel movies. Don't get me wrong. I love the Marvel movies and stuff, but I really love when people I don't know what it's called when they do these is it satire? Would you call it that?
Satire.
So,
Or you're making fun of,
so it's making fun of real things that are really happening in this world. To the point of, obviously the internet is so grand. It's so hard to put it on film for 10 seconds and say, the internet's just memes. But you know what I mean? But it's really true, what memes can do to persuade people, when they're done the right way. It shows the power of the internet compared to news and television. Even though he may be on the news, hugging and kissing kids at the hospital and stuff, that means nothing to the new generation of people on the internet. You know what I mean? On the internet, it's all about what's trending quickly and stuff like that. So that's why, when the video got leaked of him killing the thing, it went viral on the internet, not the news.
Away. Even though they took it down right away, too.
Well, it's really a trip because, once it's on the internet, it's on the internet, right? Unless you have a superhero that can hack or talk to electricity. I don't know how that would work. How you would be able to talk to computers as a superpower. But
I have to make an admission. One thing that I really liked is, remember when we saw the first long span trailer where they introduced Stormfront? I was saying, I hope they don't have too much social media, because I feel like that can get overplayed and can be over the top and it gets annoying. The way they've integrated in the story, it hasn't felt pushed in. It hasn't felt like a fan's. It just felt like they're doing the right balance of it, which is kind of cool. This is the way you do it. Now, is that going to cause the show to age as well over time, like 10 years from now, or people will be like, what the heck is all this? I don't think that's obviously their worry, but when you put things like that into a movie or a show, it does tend to date it, like over time.
It's true, but
it doesn't matter. It's still going to be fun no matter what. They're making fun of the times.
Star Wars is dated. I mean, we have more technology than they ever had in Star Wars. In Star Wars, there's no freaking security cameras in any of the Death Stars. Like, you would think, like, nowadays, like, the first thing you would have is cameras everywhere to see Luke running around. Like, they would know instantly once they took the helmets off and took the handcuffs off Chewbacca, like, oh, we got people in this place who don't belong here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you would need a hacker in Star Wars land to actually make all those movies make sense. Anyways, back to what's really happening.
Yeah, we have not that many episodes left.
No.
I'm really bummed that we got. It was fun to binge those 3 episodes, but I would rather have just kind of been enjoying, like, seeing where they go. Where do you think? Not taking anything from the comics, where do you think this is? I mean, obviously we're just projecting and kind of trying to guess, but where do you think this is going to go?
I think by the end of the season, we're hopefully going to see who Black Noir is, and I think that's going to be a big twist, because I really hope, like, Homelander at the beginning, he had it all together, right? He was like choosing the team members, he had the power, then he lost it. Like right now, he's lost control. Like, the company's back in charge, making the right calls. He's not making the right calls, and now he's going towards Stormfront. Something might happen where he pops in the next episode or 2, and he might go on the killing spree this season, where he becomes like the rogue super villain. You know what I mean? Like, where the company's just like, hey, we're not responsible for this guy. And I think maybe that's when we'll see who Black Noir is. We'll see if he kills Stormfront, or if Stormfront has some other trickery up her sleeves or social media stuff. And I hope by the end we'll see a new boys team to balance the power struggle. I mean, maybe we'll find out if Compound V can give people powers, if they drink it, or, like for a second or 2 so they can fight. I mean, hopefully we'll get more so the scale becomes a little bit more balanced when it comes to battling, or maybe even find Homelander's weakness.
So do you think, one thing that I was thinking, do you think the Butcher is going to be able to smuggle out, or, get out with his wife and Homelander's son by the end of this season? Or do you think that's almost
I don't think there's going to be a happy ending. I'll put it that way.
Well, I mean, that doesn't mean there's a happy ending, but that could escalate things with Homelander to where he just, I don't care what you're doing. This is my son or whatever.
What if Butcher goes off the rails and kills his son, and that throws Homelander off the edge? It makes him and Becca like totally separate, where he really is he's gone to the full dark side kind of thing, and then we have full dark side Butcher and full dark side Homelander. So
again, we're just nerding out on this stuff. We have no idea whatsoever. In fact, some of the stuff we're saying sounds so stupid. I wonder why we even said it, but still fun to talk about. So since we're just going full crazy stupid,
you want stuff that's going to surprise you, like lasering a crowd of people.
Oh, that was such a fun shot. So beautifully done too. I mean, as far as like just the visuals of it, you're like, wow, really, really cool stuff, you guys. Go ahead and let us know if you have crazy theories like us, or do you think it's going to go a certain direction? If you're bummed that we got 3 episodes right away and then we don't have as much left, or you liked having those 3 up and going, it's curious to hear. And I'm sure Amazon's always monitoring feedback, and they're going to make tweaks on how they present content.
Just like the company VOT.
Just like VOT, Amazon VOT. That's right. So anyways, go ahead and subscribe if you like what we're talking about. We're going to be covering the rest of the season. We'll probably do a season wrap, and then we may go back and do some visual effects breakdowns of certain episodes as well, because that's something that's really fun to do. And they have some great subtle effects. They have some great really in-your-face effects. But the cool thing is when you're watching it, you don't really think about it because you're just laughing or just enjoying what's going on. So check out AsArt.space for all the audio and video links. We'll see you on the next AsArt.